Hey everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this video lesson, we're going to make a cute little artist trading card by using a little paper doll cutout, a random piece of, this is just like something from one of the Tim Holtz things. It's just looks like a little calendar. It says, keep in sight, if you leave your seat, please carry this with you. It's just a ticket. Little chipboard wings, a button, and some words I've chosen after an adventure, and a piece of cardboard. And I've prepped one already. I'm going to show you how to get to that point. And for the paints, we're going to be using DecoArt Media. Sorry, not DecoArt Media. You can use DecoArt Media gesso. I'm using the DecoArt Chalky gesso. It's in a big container, but I put it into a smaller one so it's easier for me to handle. DecoArt Media Matte Medium to glue the embellishments together. And then for the colors, Phthalo Green Yellow, Hansa Yellow Light, Naphthol Red Light, and Burnt Umber. And I also have an X-Acto knife, a couple of tweezers, and a little cosmetic sponge and a paintbrush. Okay? So yeah, you're probably wondering, what the heck is she going to do with this? I never create artwork with greens. It's just something it's out of my comfort zone, which is a challenge for this video lesson, is to use a color that's outside your comfort zone. All right, so I'm going to put these over here, and you know that I like to get started by prepping stuff so it has time to dry while I do other things. So let's first quickly just go over this part here. And this is just packaging. This is just cardboard packaging, and all I'm going to do is, and I'm cutting it so it's this way, not this way. Cutting it so the lines will go this way. And all I'm doing is sticking tweezers inside to pull it to get it started. Now the beauty with this technique is that each piece that you create will look different. And it doesn't really matter if you leave a spot. What I would have liked is this spot to be down here, but it didn't work out that way. So you're just going to pull some pieces, and all this is doing is creating some texture in the background. That's all, the sole purpose of this. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now the paper doll that I'm using is, again, from Tim Holtz collection. It's a little big for this, so I'm not too worried if it sticks out past anything. See, that's pretty good. I want to take everything off. And these pieces you can use for texture for other pieces, or put them in your recycling bin. All right, so that, don't need that anymore. And all I'm going to do is just take first some gesso, and we're going to prep the piece. That's the sole purpose of the gesso, is just to prime the piece inside, just for it to help the paint stick to it. Because the cardboard now where it's torn is thinner, when we start painting and putting the matte medium on there, it's going to soak up into the cardboard. So by priming it with gesso first, it's going to help create that barrier, and it's going to give something for the paint and the matte medium to stick on. It's a habit you should really get into, prepping your pieces with gesso. There are some techniques where you don't use gesso, but that should be intentional. Like, you purposely don't want to use gesso. What you want to avoid is not using gesso because you don't have it. You should really try, that's one of the staple products in art is gesso. You may say, well, can I use white paint? Well, yeah, you can, but depending on the paint, some paints have a gloss finish to it or a satin finish to it, which sometimes will hinder the any other stuff from sticking to it. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to it. I'm going to get a baby wipe, and I'm just going to blot that brush. Okay, so that's it for the gesso. Well, that's it for now. That's it for now. So let's have some time to dry now. Look at the difference. How that nice and opaque that is by putting on a good amount of gesso, not overly thick. But if your gesso ends up looking like this, I mean, that's fine for color. This was quickly put on. You can always apply multiple layers to get it really, really opaque. Okay, so I'm going to put that over here. All right, so let's start working with these ones now. Again, with the chipboard, I'm also going to prime this with gesso. And let me just bring that over here. The ticket I'm okay on. And whoopsie, And that's the problem. When you're using chipboard, you don't want it to be overly wet because then the cardboard will start to crack. I had too much water in my brush. There we go. And I'm not using my new tweezers to do this part. I ruin tweezers so fast because I'm too lazy to clean them. I'm finding that lately I'm being lazy with a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's because fall is here and it's cozy time. I don't know. So that's that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just want to get a coat on there, let that dry, then flip it over to the other side. That way you'll give something for the back side to stick to the card. So that side will be gesso to stick to the card, and then this side will be for painting. And that's it for that. Now, let me just quickly, with the heat gun, just dry this. And do the other side. Now with these no stick mats, this one here is the unstick. This was one I purchased from the wrong vendor on Amazon, but this is the unstick one, which my new one comes in today. Watch the temperatures on your no stick mat to make sure that it's for high temp. So they should be between 400 to 500 degrees if you're going to use a heat gun on your mat. All right. So we are getting there. Really, once the pieces are prepped, you just have to glue the stuff together. And with the holidays coming up, and you know, we're still in part of that pandemic mode. Stuff by mail is taking place, and the artist trading cards, that's one thing, is that you can do it by mail. So with these cards, if you just want to give them as miniature art, that's fine, no problem at all. These cards are 2.5 by 3.5 inches, but you could make them really for just gift giving any size you want. All right, so now I want to prep these pieces. Excuse me, these are going to be a bugger because they're so tiny. What I want to do with these is create a halo around the edge. Now these are just printed on just regular photocopy paper. What would be nice? And I don't have, oh, come on. Come on. Hang on a second. There we go. I'm just going to take a scrap of Terraskin and I'm going to glue that on here because that's going to be too rinky-dink to hold it to edge it. I want to put a little bit more substance to it. So if you have cardstock that you can run through your printer to print your own text blocks, that's perfect. And I'm just going to put that right at the very edge to minimize waste. Come on. See, one mistake I made. I didn't put matte medium on the back side of the paper, which would make it repositionable. See, that doesn't move. If you put matte medium on the back side of the paper and on your surface, then it will, you can smush it around. And now this one here, I bet you if I pull it, I'm going to tear the paper. Nope. Okay, if this is the indication of how this project's going to go, there, now I can move it. There we are. And don't do this just for one piece. You want to try to do as, in bulk, as many as possible. And because this is terrace skin, I can't use a heat gun on it, otherwise it'll kind of curl up. So I'm going to put this on the edge. All right, so when we're working with colors like green and this tag is red, I want to try to tie in colors together. So we're going to get a little bit of color theory in here. Red is opposite the color wheel to green, so that's why I chose Phthalo Yellow Green and Hansa Yellow Light to stain the paper to create a light tint. Because this photograph, this beautiful little girl, although the photograph is black and white, the actual tint, vintage colors for the tint, it seems to have a greenish hue to it. And I didn't want burnt umber. Sorry, changing my mind. Raw umber. I'm going to use raw umber for the edge. She's got the black and white photo has a bit of a greenish tint to it. So that will lend well to using green as the background. Raw umber is a brown that now this particular raw umber leans a little bit towards the tiniest greenish tint. So that'll work well. But I've got this red tag. So what can I do? Well, with the red tag, I can either paint her wings red, or I can, add a little bit of a red tint into some of the areas, or I could use the Naphthol red light with a little cosmetic sponge and create a little bit of a red around here instead of seeing that white paper. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, and it just depends on how you want to work this through. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work the background first, because that's going to help me decide how I'm going to work the colors. And I've got a button here that I tried to match closely to her hair. So that'll kind of tie in. So what I like to try to do is the elements to try to tie them into each other. So she's got, like some of the hue in the actual printing, okay, the print of the cutout will lend towards the greens and the raw umber and the red. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it around here or around the card. I don't know yet. So let's start first with the green, and you're going to need just the tiniest amount, that much, the tiniest amount. And yellow, about double the size. And if you're not sure what the color is going to look like, so I'm just going to mix those two together. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water because I want to get this as a stain. So you're looking about that. Now, if that's too bright for you, then you can knock it down with a little bit of raw umber, or you can knock it down, let's say even with burnt sienna or burnt, oops, that's way too much, burnt umber. It's just to dull it down just a little bit. There we go. See the difference? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to take some matte medium, and might as well use this card here, and I'm going to take some matte medium right into the paint, and I'm just going to put that on there. Yep, that works out well. And it looks like a grungy, not really grungy, but just an old style, old school green. It's nothing too garish. Now remember, a lot of the cutout's going to be covering it, and you know what? I don't think I'm going to have enough paint. Oh no. That's okay. We'll make it work. There we go. The matte medium helps it go a little bit further as well. And I think, you know what? I'm going to have to adjust the video lights. A massive cloud just went over and everything just got dark all of a sudden. I'm going to adjust the lights while this dries. Okay, so that's it for that. Give me a sec to adjust the camera. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Now I'm going to take some raw umber and I'm just going to go around the edges. I'm going top down, just around some spots, just to create a little bit of an effect there. Nothing fancy. And I'm going to work a little bit more on the corner here because I want that to be little bit darker because that's where the text is going to go. Just something like that. Okay, and you can make this as dark as you want, as light as you want. I have a little bit of paper here that tore, so I'm going to put a little bit of paint in there. There we are. Very simple. Now I'm just going to clean up the green because we still need some of that raw umber. Okay, let me get this out of the way and get this out of the way. And don't need the gesso. I'm going to get that out of the way. And this now is almost dry, so we're good to go on that. So now I'm going to take this and this card here. I'm going to use my little cosmetic sponge. And I'm just going to add some raw umber to the edge. And if you don't have stuff like this, go to graphicsfairy.com and she has the most amazing printables that are free. She has a membership as well, but she gives a lot of her good stuff away for free. And all you have to do is just print it. And a lot of the stuff that I'm getting now is Amazon because I can't. Michael stopped carrying a lot of the stuff. They stopped carrying a lot. Now what I'm also doing is as I'm going over, I'm wiping. And what I'm doing is as I wipe the paint this way, it's building up and I'm going back over it and I'm creating that rough, tattered texture here. And if you're not sure about doing that, apply a coat of matte medium on this, let it dry, then do that. With the matte medium, it's going to allow you to clean it up. See, now that looks nice and old. I'm just going to blot this and I'm just going to tap a little bit on that. And that's going to dull down the red a little bit. Okay, that takes care of that. And you're almost dry. So let me think. I still need some of that raw umber. The little girl. We can actually start playing. So this really helps her stand out. And for her wings, this is now we're going to choose what color do we want for her wings. And I'm thinking, I think I'd like to make them kind of a brass color, which is a little bit more on the red side, or you can even use rose gold. But so it's a matter of finding something that's complementary to the green, something that works opposite to the color wheel, that works with the red but doesn't get hidden. So after dry fitting everything, I'm looking to do her wings more in a greenish tint. So I'm going to take the Decor Medium Fluid Acrylics Interference Green and Interference Gold. I could also use the Enchanted green and gold as well, but I had this handy, so I'm going to use that. So in order to really pop these up, I'm going to see if I can use this little, I want to paint this a dark color. Usually I use black gesso. I want to use up the paint. I'm just going to put that in there, just get a rough pattern. Okay, wait for that to dry, then I'll do the edges. Let's see, this way, this way. But to get the biggest dramatic effect, black was better. And I'll show you what it looks like on paper. Just going to get a couple of samples here. There we go. So that's what it looks like. So what I'm looking to get, so I've liked the gold. This is the actual Enchanted line. And you know what? Let me do the right thing. Hang on a second. Let me, just to make sure that I'm showing you the right information. All right. So gold, blue, let's see, violet and the green. And then we also have the holographic illusions. And we have, these are the shimmers. And so I'm looking to see, that's turquoise, I believe. That's actually quite pretty as well. Then what I did is on a separate card, I actually did some color mixing, and I'm kind of partial to this here. So because I can't get the exact same match, I'm taking the idea of color mixing is to take, thinking that the gold acts like a neutral, and then the green, so I'm dulling it down. I don't think adding paint to this to dull it down is going to work well. That will be an experiment to try later on because of the interference. So I don't want to affect that color. So I'm just going to put these here like that. So this is relatively simple. Okay, so let's go here. And oh, actually, while I'm here, I cut these off the Terra skin. And I'm actually going to use this. And I'm just going to color the edges with the raw umber, just to get rid of just to create kind of a bit of that depth. You can use any color you want. Whoopsie, these are so small. If you have, if you're going to print these yourselves, you can also, with these, create an edging. If you do it like a label, or better yet, if you use Canva, do it as a label size, and you can put like a shadow around these, especially in Canva. You can use Photoshop in that, but Canva, there's a free plan for that. And oops, I kind of lost the A there. And you can print it with the shadow already. So everything has been done except the little girl. I'm going to put a tiny bit of an edging there with the Naphthol red light with a little bit of the raw umber. Creates a bit of a rust color. I'm looking to match that. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Just looking to, you can't see what I'm doing. I was just looking to make sure that that was a good match. I'm going to blot on a paper towel. Now with these paper doll cutouts, what's really good is the front part, because it's glossy, you can, if you get some paint on it, you can easily wipe it off. But what I want to do is I want to put some of that red, it's a little bit in the flower, in her hair. Oh, nice. I like that. I like that. But all this color here, let me grab a baby wipe, and I'm just going to wipe any color, any of that red color that's on her. And I'm just going to go back, put a little bit more, because she's going to be on the tag. Oh, I should have made that green. Oopsie. I should have made that green. Ah, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so that's that. I know that's going to be on here. These, oh my goodness, these are so small. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to glue it yet. And the wings, I'm just going to hit that with the heat gun for a sec. Okay. Now I'm going to get a baby wipe, and I don't believe I need any more color except the, actually, yeah, I do. I need those two colors still. Let me flip that around. One of my challenges now, well, not my challenge, but one of my goals is to minimize waste with paint, especially now that Michael's is just not carrying the stuff that I want. I have to be really careful. And it's something I really shouldn't have to be careful on, because I should always be conserving. Stuff's expensive enough as it is. You can't tell what the colors are almost put my brush in my teacup. So I'm going to mix them together. Now the goal is when you're painting that paint doesn't go on like that with the ridges. You want it thin. Oh, 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 nice, nice, nice. So you don't want it to go on like that thinking it's going to make a better effect. It won't. It won't dry like that. So multiple thin, even layers, but you have to let each layer dry in between. That's why you don't need a lot. If you have little spare containers, put your mixtures into a container. So paint the container black and then put this on top, and then you can save the little, you know, those little paint pot things if you have access to those. Nice. I like that. That is really pretty. I don't know if you can see that because of the glare. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. And this you can dry with the heat gun or a hair blower. Just make sure you grab it so it doesn't blow away. Come on. Turn. And I think I'm going to put on one more layer on this one. Yeah, this one over here. Okay, done, 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 done. So I'm going to start gluing now. All right, so you know what? Let me edge this here. And this is the same color as the tag and as the red around her body, around the cutout. And I'm just going to bring a little bit of that red just up on the edges. Okay, I'm going to blot that in a paper towel, and it's going to lightly, just ever so lightly, go over the ridges of the cardboard. I'm not going to put any here because the tag's going to be here. By doing that, I've got the green inside. And do this as many times as you want. But look at that. It's really nice. It just ties everything in together. Red and green are hard colors to when blended together because they get really muddy. But when they're beside each other or when applying dry, they have a really nice effect. Okay, so what I need now is my matte medium. And let me just hit this one more time with the heat gun so we can start gluing everything together. And the little wings. Okay. Let me just grab this other piece here. And I'm only putting down the multiple layers of the matte because this is not waterproof. This is only good for dry. All right, so let's dry fit again. I think this, you know what? I think that might be a little bit tall. Let me, oh, and I put my cosmetic sponge in. I put my cosmetic sponge in the water. Let me get another one. I missed this step. Sorry. I missed that step. My fault. My bad. I wonder if I can have enough here. No. Oh, yep. No. I thought I did. Oh, Sorry. You know what? Sorry, but you know what? It's no big whoop. It's no biggie. And I'm just going to bring a little bit of that color around as well. This is going to create the contrast as well for the tag. So that's going to go there. And then the wings. Now if you're doing this as an actual artist trading card, make sure your embellishments stay within the confines of the tag or the card. That way people can put them in their little sleeves. Otherwise, if you're doing a swap, because the swaps always have guidelines. If they say, sorry, I can't talk and do this at the same time. If they say it can be thick, then that's fine. That's what we're looking at doing. And then the button right there. That's what we're looking at. All right, so that looks pretty good. So now we just glue everything together. So matte medium. I'm going to put matte medium over the whole thing, because this will also give it some extra protection. Every layer of matte medium, every layer of paint, every layer of collage makes your substrate, this is the substrate, stronger. And if you are doing this as an artist trading card, or even giving as a gift, cut a piece of paper out or paint this the back just to finish it. Now this here, I'm going to put some of this on the back as well as on the card. That will give me the time to move it around. And it will dry transparent. And because we've got all these, the ridges on the cardboard, you'll have to, press it every few seconds to make sure. Once it gets tacky, it'll stay down. And we're at that right now. But if you've built your thing and you find that, okay, oops, that's crooked. If you've built your thing and you find that it's still peeling up, take a thick medium, let's say you use this, and you put it inside to wherever it's peeling up. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I don't need to. It will take much longer to dry. So if you do that, or use glue gun just to create that little contact inside there. Just getting rid of the excess, giving this time to tack up. All right, let's put, come on. Let's put the button there. Okay. And let's get that little girl on there. And some of the cards you can actually bend. Like if her hand was sticking out, I would bend it so it was like almost like a 3D. But again, if you're doing this as an actual formal artist trading card, you just have to make sure that it follows the guidelines. I'm going to put this on and let this tack up just a little bit. And I'm going to put the wings on. The wings I'm going to put a good amount on there. And I'm just going to drop it. I'm not going to push it because I still want to position it. That's why I love using the matte medium for this, because I can reposition everything and then I can clean it up after. Okay. And then just on her, I'm not going to put it on the actual wings because I don't want to lose that interference. And I'm just going to position her, put that a little bit higher. Right about there. Now I'll press down on the wings. And it's up to you now at this point if you want to actually put matte medium over the cutout as well. That's up to you. Now I can come in. I'm not going to put any on the wings, just to give it a little extra protection. And see how she's bumping up here because of the wings. So I'm going to come in a little bit more matte medium underneath her feet and just put that in there. It's going to turn her just a little bit crooked and hold that down to make contact. And her head as well. Put a little bit more under there. I mean, you can, you know, if you know you want to make a bunch of these, then I would have left some of the unpeeled paper right there. Or you can use, let's say, liquid glass or something like that, just to create that extra contact. So this is a demonstration piece, so I'm not worried about it. But if you'd like to do a card swap with me for this, I'd be more than happy to do that with you. So I'm just cleaning up the excess matte medium. There we go. Now it's getting tacky, so it's starting to hold down. Again, I'm not worried about her head there. I just want to get that cleaned up right in there. And I'm just going to feather over. I don't want her, I don't like her being so shiny. I like the idea of the wings being that iridescent and then her being a matte finish. And now we have the words, matte medium there. Okay, that's... I'm just going to drop that. Matte medium there. Come on. And okay, so I'm just going to position that a little bit better. There, like that. And now once it's in place, I'm just going to put a little bit of matte medium on top to create that seal. Just going to push, push, push. And once it gets tacky, it won't move anymore. If you're printing these yourself as well, because I'm putting media on top of these labels, the AN, it wasn't dry and I peeled off a little bit of the paper on the end. I'm not going to worry about it, but if you're printing these yourselves, this technique works best on actual the quality ink. Like I tried to do this many years ago using, I had a Canon printer and I was using, you know, the no name ink, and it would smear. So I'm on an HP printer now, which I'm on that, I think, oh my God, 7 years on that printer. It's phenomenal on their inkjet program. And it doesn't smear at all. That's it. We're finished. Look at that. How cute is that? So that's going to take, so if I was doing this for a swap, I would let this sit for 3 days before sending it out. Depending on the guidelines when you're doing the swap, there'll be mailing guidelines and all that stuff. But for this particular case, I mean, if you guys, somebody there, first come, first serve, wants to do a swap with me, I'd be more than happy. By the time you guys see this video, this will have cured for quite a few days. It'll be all set. But if I was keeping it for myself, I would just, you know, come put it onto a little mini easel or put it onto another card. So if you can imagine, pretend this is another card that's been decorated, that could be a focal point on the card. So that's a great way to repurpose your artist trading cards as well if you wanted to make them but not do trading. All right, so that's it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this. Again, if any of you want to do a swap with me for this specific card, let me know in the comments below, first come, first serve, or send me an email if you want as well. The YouTube comment sometimes takes me a little bit to get to, but either way, it'll be first come, first serve. And I'd be more than happy to do the swap with you. If you comment on the video, I'm doing the swap on the YouTube channel, not on Facebook. If you want to do it don't post your address in the comments. Just let me know. Say, yeah, I'll do a swap with you. And then what to do is head on over to artplace.ca and click the contact link to send me your address there. Okay? Don't post it publicly on YouTube. And if I get enough comments in there about wanting to do a swap, then I can make up some more cards like this. And maybe we can do a little group swap together of just a few people. All right? So let me know what you think. And until I see you in the next video, stay inspired.